What is up, YouTube, and thank you so much for tuning in to my how to aim better in Warzone video. Are you missing your shots? Struggle to hit moving targets? Want to improve your aim? Then this video is definitely for you. In 4 easy steps, I can 100% guarantee you that by the end of this video, you'll have drastically improved your aim. This isn't another clickbait video. I've found a surefire way for most people to hit 90% of their shots at multiple ranges, and how to set up your sensitivities properly and what each one of them does in detail. There's a lot of other YouTube videos out there that do kind of delve into this, but don't go fully into what everything does and why we're adjusting this. A lot of them just say, stick between these ranges, adjust to what feels good, have fun. It's pretty much the dynamic that they do. We're going to do something slightly different to that, and I can promise you it will drastically improve your aim. So first of all, we're going to hop into a private match. It doesn't really matter which Call of Duty it is. It could be the previous one, could be this one. It could be a quiet corner of Warzone. Just obviously the only difference is you're not going to have bots to use in that. Do what you can, but try to follow along. Use these steps. We're going to just quickly create this private match. First thing I want you to do, and this is very, very important, especially if you're doing this in a private match with the bots, go onto the aiming tab in your controller. Turn off target aim assist for now. Select the dynamic aim response curve type. Stick with me, try it, because there's a reason why I want to select this one, and we'll cover that in just a second. What I will do is, I do recommend the training area map, training facility. And we're just going to leave it on standard now, because it shouldn't take us too long at all to describe everything. So the step one, the first thing that we're going to be focusing on is the sensitivity that you all know, the vertical and horizontal main sensitivities. You should have already created your class, or get a gun that you like. It doesn't really matter too much as long as sort of the sights are the same. But this first step is very important to do while you are not aimed in.
Eliminate the enemy.
Find a point like this where it has a nice line, and face forward, spin round 180 degrees. You can do this with a jump, and try and time it with a jump, and try and get it as close to that line as you possibly can. You're not going to get it perfect every time, but just one that gets you somewhere near with a 180 and a 360. You see, I'm just coming up a little bit short, so it's never going to be perfect. It's quite difficult to do every time, but it's about what feels right and what you can relatively consistency. We're not aiming for absolute perfection. We're aiming for what feels right. And keep adjusting these settings to what feels right for you on these. For some of you, it might be 3, it might be 7, it could even be 12 to 14. It's about what feels right for you. Everybody's different. It's about what feels right to your brain when it's connecting to your hands, which is connecting to your controller. Step 2. While not aimed in, what I want you to do is find a target, or you can do this with a bot, and track your enemy. Use the center dot and just try and keep it as relatively central as you can. If it's too sensitive, obviously you'll have set these first two, which is the one we just talked about. If it's too sensitive, I want you to go down to where we have the aim response curve type dynamic, and then click show more. What you'll find out now is we have aim response curve slope scale. This is how much of the S curve affects, and it drastically changes the middle of the stick. So closer to 1 will be a lot more curved, which will be a less sensitive mid stick. Closer to say 0.5, 0.6 will be a more linear curve. It'll take more of the curve out. So when you are tracking like this and you are strafing side to side, you're using a lot of the middle stick. So this is going to be finding out what feels the most natural to you. So now we've got 2 out of the 3 steps done, and you should be able to track this, or even track an enemy without aim assist on. In step 3, I want you to track an enemy while aiming in and moving. Again, this could be one of the bots. I'd suggest even using an SMG once you get it somewhere near. So you just, again, we're not looking for perfection, but we just want it relatively near. Again, it's not about perfection, it's about what feels natural and what feels right without aim assist on. Now, the very final setting is going to be about the absolute fine movement, where you can adjust up to aim for the head and down to the chest, aim to the head, down to the chest, aim to the head and down to the chest. And I want you to keep doing this. And the setting you're going to need to change for this, a lot of people cover this dead zone as this is up to you. If you're getting stick drift, that's it. But you can use in the controller tab at the dead zone inputs, the dead zone input, to adjust how sensitive the very fine control is. Because you've set up that dynamic curve, you can set on your right stick minimum how twitchy the very center of your stick is. If you're finding it too twitchy and a little hard to control, raise this dead zone up. If you're getting a lot of stick drift and it's unbearable, obviously you'll have to do that anyway. But you will find a feel for this. If it's not twitchy enough and you feel like you need a slight bit more finer control, lower this setting. Your left stick always set to 0. This is because of a thing called rotational aim assist, which affects you when you're strafing. It's why you see a lot of the players have what seems a lot stronger aim assist. It's because they know how to use what's called rotational aim assist. While you are strafing and moving, your aim assist is a lot stronger. And we obviously want to take advantage of that as much as possible. So I'd suggest doing this with the bot. Step 4, turn back on your aim assist. I'd suggest Black Ops, try default. It's completely up to you. I wouldn't suggest the other 2. But have a play with both of these. See what this feels like without adjusting any settings yet. See what this feels like against a couple of bots or against a couple of enemies. It has to be an actual enemy. You can't do this with the target because you're using the aim assist. And if you feel like you need to adjust either the mid stick, go back to step 2, adjust that setting that we talked about in the dynamic response curve. If you're struggling with a player behind you that you need to 180 on, or just generally running about, it's going to be these 2. Or like we say, that fine tuning is going to be a dead zone. Again, just rinse and repeat, and over, a week of playing, maybe adjusting this by 1. I'm not talking big adjustments, I'm talking minute adjustments. And keep going through these steps, and I promise you now, your aim will drastically improve. Let me know in the comments if it worked for you. If this helped you, I'd really would appreciate it if you liked the video. Share it, let people know. I don't want this to be a secret. A lot of people aren't talking about this aim response curve slope skill. But yeah, I hope you have a pleasant Warzone experience, and I hope you hit all of your shots and it helps you improve. Thanks very much, and have a good one, guys.